Taylor Swift is a link builder. There were rumours that she would get engaged. Our client said, let's give them a free wedding venue. And then we got them 50 links. That's digital PR.
Managing multiple clients or large websites? Automate your SEO with Ali AI. Start your free trial now.
Wix Studio, one end-to-end web creation platform for your agency to deliver exceptional work with absolute efficiency.
All right, thank you, Claire. Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to Brighton SEO. As you're probably all aware, life is full of successes and failures, isn't it? Things go well, some things don't. And the older we get, theoretically, the more we learn. Or that's what we expect. And I'm not sure if I look older than I am, although Claire has now said how old I possibly am because I got into SEO when I was about 20. But I've had plenty of failures and successes on my SEO journey since it started back in 1999. In fact, it slightly shocked me preparing for this talk when I realised I've been involved with about 400 different clients. And obviously some of those have gone really well and still exist. Some of them have unfortunately disappeared, as companies do. There's some of the businesses we worked with when we set up Vaughton 14 years ago still exist, and we still work with them actually. But again, some of them have unfortunately slowly disappeared, and we don't work with them anymore. And this isn't a unique experience for companies, unfortunately. In fact, the UK government reckons that 1,200 businesses go bankrupt every day. That's 430,000 a year that go under. So, there is a challenge there to be had. And even if you're performing well, Forbes, as it says up here, states that 252,000 new websites go live every year. So the competition, if you are doing well, is always going to keep growing. And in fact, in addition to this, there's obviously the sort of rapid advancements in AI that everyone's talking about. And we're sort of witnessing a very large potential shift in SEO, or in our industry anyway. And some people are already suggesting that we just need to retire. Well, they might just be talking to me because of my age. But anyway, as Otto von Bismarck said, who's the chap in this image, is any fool can learn by experience, but it's vastly preferable to learn from the experience of others. So with that in mind, I wanted to take some time to reflect and share. Sort of reflect on some of the websites and businesses we've worked with that have succeeded and some that have failed, but more importantly, share I think what that means for SEO, what it means for AI, and for our own strategies. Now, from the evolution of whether it be smartphones, through to mobile usage, outstripping laptop usage, through to all the voice searches everyone has in their house, through to self-driving cars, obviously a lot has changed technology-wise in the world in the last decade, including Google. Obviously a lot has changed there. I don't know if people remember, but there's been multiple changes back from Mobilegeddon back in the day. And well, any research you look at, they reckon there's been about 12 massive algorithm changes. But Danny Sullivan, actually, on an article I found recently, reckons there's 3,000 changes on Google a year that impact rankings. So everything is always changing. So that means the landscape of search is evolving, whether AI or not. Could be other new platforms as well. And obviously things seem like they're changing quicker than ever. And they may be, to be honest, they may be. But that doesn't mean the fundamentals of what sort of drives that long-term SEO are changing as well. Now, to keep up to date, as I think other agencies have probably done, we've set up a couple of teams. We set up an innovation team and a longer-term strategy team. Now, the innovation team, they're there to sort of test AI, work how Google's using it, how it can improve our own internal sort of processes as well, how we work with clients, and also just keep up to date with technical SEO sort of evolution. And then the strategy team look at sort of what's happening with our businesses, with the clients we work with, how they perform, and how SEO will impact them for the next 3 to 5 years. So I want to share a bit from both of those teams. Firstly, I want to share sort of 4 areas that we're looking at, that we've noticed we think AI is going to impact how we work with our clients in the next few years. Now, firstly, we've got natural language processing. Now, I don't know who's had a play with this, but NLP sort of helps search engines basically understand user queries and interpret human language better, or it's getting there anyway. It should improve the relevancy and the sort of accuracy of search results, theoretically, and also therefore enhance the user experience. So if it works properly, it can only be a good thing. That said, because it helps sort of search engines understand what the query is searching, it does mean that possibly those sort of days of tick list keyword optimization projects are possibly limited. Now, NLP search, the thing is, because it no longer looks at the words, it looks at sort of phrases rather than words. And obviously SEO from sort of when it began back in the day when I started was mainly just about words. We're going to have to change how we think. We have to think about the paragraphs we write and the query as a whole. Essentially look at the sentiment of what we're writing, because that's what Google's trying to understand. And to prepare for this, we've been playing with two things. One, and I'd recommend you look at this if you get time, is using Google's natural language API. This is a great tool. It's not particularly expensive, and if you're good with APIs, you'll pick it up really quickly. But you can use it to help you understand how Google's understanding the content on your page. And if you're in publishing, where you create a lot of content, it's a great tool. It's not perfect, it's evolving, but I would genuinely have a look at it. You can find it on Google, obviously. And we played with that, but also, as importantly, look at how Google understands your competitors' content, especially if they perform better than you. It's still being rolled out more and more and it's improving, but I would look at that. Also, we've obviously changed how we do keyword research as well, which I'm sure everyone has, sort of looking at identifying underlying concepts rather than individual keywords. The next one we're playing with is obviously voice search, or sort of interpretation of voice search. This links a bit to NLP, but we obviously don't speak how we type. So besides thinking about NLP, we need to think about the sort of conversational phrases and the things we've noticed that impact how some of the clients we work with perform on voice search is obviously using conversational phrases in your copy, but it's also been the sort of structured data markup. There's also been your local search strategy, so you can speak to Claire if you want help with that. But also as importantly is website speed and therefore hosting. And it's amazing how little people look at hosting and caching, and it's a slightly different art, but recommend you get someone in your team to understand better how to sort of have a unique caching setup. We've found that had a massive impact. The next one is user intent analysis. Obviously AI not only sort of understands what we're writing, but also the intent behind it. Whether that be a navigational search or a purchasing search or a discovery search. And we found clients have been impacted, especially e-commerce, by this, when we've had clients that rank really well, category pages rank really well, but Google seemed to re-understand what it thought the user wanted and would instead show product searches. So then we had to restructure the site's of architecture and internal linking to help sort of navigate through that so the page is ranked again. So again, if you see rankings fluctuate, I would suggest you look at the intent behind what Google might understand your content is focusing on, and the NLP API can help with that. The last one is the image and video recognition. Google's, I don't know if anyone's played with it, but Google's Vision AI, they seem that, as far as we can tell, seems to be being used more in understanding images, and I think will be rolled out more and more in search. Again, I would have a look at that. We found when we tested the client's website and updated images to sort of better show what the image did, the quality of the product, and what it can be used for, helped impact the rankings. Now, that's early days, but I think that will get more and more rolled out in Google, as we can tell. In fact, I don't know if people, when Google started overwriting your meta title and descriptions, when it thought it had a more relevant idea, we do wonder if that might happen with Google, with the images, with product descriptions. So again, having a good image will be really important. In fact, we do wonder going forward if, with that and with Google using the AI to roll out over videos, that more and more videos might show up in Google search results. So do think, have you got a video strategy? In fact, to the point where there'll be so many video results that Google and YouTube possibly could somehow amalgamate. I don't know if that would happen because it's probably not great for your revenue stream. Or perhaps Google might charge one day and not have ads in their search results, which I might pay for, although I apologise to my friends in the Google Ads department. But besides that, there's all these updates going on, and people are sort of talking about the evolution of SEO and new ways of SEO thinking and how do we change, as though there's a massive sudden impact on SEO and we all need to go away and retrain. And I think I've heard people that haven't been around the industry for 10 years or more. Saying this sort of, we're going to go extinct, we're just not going to be here. I just don't think that's the case. If you've been around long enough, you'll know, if you think of the changes, Mobilegeddon, that was 2015, and we all knew it was coming, and the panic, I remember coming to brightonSEO in those days, and the panic around that day was huge. But in the end, we just kept evolving, and there was Panda, and there was Penguin, and then there was RankBrain, and there was the helpful content update. Google keeps changing. We need to get used to this. In fact, back in the sort of late 90s, when I got into SEO, or when Google sort of picked off sort of in the early 90s, it was seen as a fad, I think, and it was seen as something that would just disappear and not as marketing. But now it's, it is part, well, we find it's part of our clients' marketing strategy, and actually it's replacing traditional marketing, which is slowly decreasing. So I think if anything, SEO is fine. It's actually more stable than ever. So I think, please don't listen to the scaremongers. That said, whether it's due to AI or not, businesses and agencies will go out of business. I think if your SEO sort of agency fail or your team fail, it'll be a shame. The AI might impact that, but I think there'll be other issues, and it is, don't focus on AI just as the new messiah. It is about that core sort of SEO, just understanding and not trying to cut corners. I'm genuinely not sure, actually, over the years, if SEO has a bit of a sort of an imposter syndrome. And I think sometimes we focus too much on those specific, do this in the SEO, do that in SEO, rather than sort of a bigger, longer term plan. It's sort of like, where are the shortcuts we can find? But I think if you do that, you're always fighting to keep up, aren't you? You're not really getting ahead. And we have seen many companies come and go, as I'm sure everyone has over the time. And the ones we've worked with over the 14 years that have sort of got to the top and stayed there have not been the ones that have relied on the shortcuts or the quick wins or the sort of funny sort of link acquisition strategies. But therefore, that brings me on to, well, what is the secret sort of to that success of those companies that have been around that long and have kept growing sort of quicker than Google's growth? Now, I don't know if anyone here has been to any of John's talks, but he said, this was quite a while ago actually, someone asked him, what is the secret to SEO success? And you can see what he said here. He said, awesomeness. Now, I appreciate that's possibly being slightly flippant, but ever since Google started, it has stated quite clearly that its mission is to organise the world's information and make it universally accessible and understandable. Now, it doesn't say anything about trying to find quick shortcuts and just getting random content to rank, does it? And this is why I think AI and Google actually becoming smarter is actually good news for us all. And I think especially good news for people that want to do SEO properly and have a long-term plan. Now, I think in this new awesome sort of era of what needs to be truly awesome, we need to sort of define less how do we understand the algorithm, more about how deeply we sort of grasp the fundamentals of marketing and how good we are as a business. I think awesomeness is about keeping going. It's about having a plan. It's about having a fundamentally good product or a brand or service. And it is about being profitable, having that long-term plan while keeping up to date with the tech SEO. It's doing things intentionally and strategically, not as a knee-jerk. Changes will obviously keep coming, whether that is the SEO or the economy. Things we've known in the last 5 years have happened in the economy. We couldn't have predicted. Change is always coming. So I think rather than being worried about change or surprised by it, see it as a challenge that means you never stop sort of intentionally testing and learning and testing and learning. Essentially get comfortable with being uncomfortable. If you ever feel comfortable with an SEO strategy because you think you found one that's a winner, please start to worry. There's no one size fits all approach. In fact, one way we're doing this, what I recommend you think about as well to sort of stay uncomfortable at Vaughton, is part of our longer term strategy team, this piece, is they've set up a Shopify e-commerce site and a WordPress publishing site. And it's been really interesting. Now, fundamentally, it's taken a couple of years to get going, I'm not going to lie, and that's a good lesson to anyone who wants to set up a business. It's not an overnight success anymore. It could have been 10 years ago in SEO, but it's not now. But I seriously think about this, because if you're good at SEO, you will get those websites to rank and driving money, but you can also use them to test and have fun and enjoy. And that's how we've been able to then roll out things to clients that we've tested without risking our clients' traffic. So obviously if we hit our own websites, it's not so much of a problem. So if you can find something you're passionate about, whether it's knitting or cycling, I would think about setting up a website. We've also learned the importance actually of just having a good brand and just communicate and understanding who the competition are and why they rank better than us, especially when we literally started at position 0. And essentially being this sort of profitable, well-run business was as important as having good tech SEO. And I think as agencies, it's something we don't look at enough. Either if you're in-house looking at the business you want to work for, if you're an agency, the client you want to work with. But actually, we've realised part of our success has been we often look at the profitability and the credit score of clients and potential clients, because they're the ones that have the money to invest in long-term success. Often you get those companies, don't you, that really push you on the SEO, but it's often because their cash flow is terrible. I think it comes back to that. Just have a bigger picture marketing view. Don't just look at SEO in a silo. And obviously, don't forget to talk to people. I'm amazed how I love all the tools. I do love a tool. I am a bit of a tool myself. But we can't forget to speak to people. We just ask people. I think it was Gartner. I don't know how correct this is, but they predicted by 2026, search is going to reduce by 25% or something. Now that seems a bit dramatic, but it certainly indicates if it's going to drop for whatever reason, because of AI or whatever their estimation is, it's going to be a problem if you're showing up in the wrong place and you've just used software to try and work out where to go, because we're all using that same software. So I think as we move forward, the key to success will actually lie in that sort of timeless your marketing principles to hold to. So have you got marketing person in your agency or your SEO team, sort of while utilising the power of SEO? And all that said, I think the reality is that people, and by people, actually people in our industry, we still look at as SEO as something that we can sort of cut corners or find a loophole. Essentially, it's a bit like drugs in sport. Or like warming up croissants, actually. Half our industry are always trying to find the latest shortcut to win. Now, you can probably tell I'm not an athlete, although I did once take a Lucozade tablet before my school sports day, but it didn't help. But I have learned the tough lesson of shortcuts through the weird experience of heating up a croissant. Now, there is a point to this story. I'm not sure who prefers warm croissants over cold croissants, but I prefer them warm. So whilst staying at a nice hotel in Guernsey, I was in a bit of a rush one morning, couldn't find a member of staff to ask to where the warm croissants are, which is a first world problem, I appreciate. But rather than wait and do it properly, I went for the shortcut and tried to warm up my croissant in a conveyor toaster like this one up here. Now, I'm not sure if any of you have ever tried this, but it turns out that croissants are surprisingly flammable. And my nice fresh croissant got about 15 centimetres into the machine, like the one above, and just burst into flames, taking all the little toast crumbs with it. Now, like any short-term SEO strategist, I sort of stepped back 4 steps behind this big pillar just to sort of see what happened. Quickly looked around, no one had noticed. Then people did notice the flames licking up the white wall. And at that point, I was like, I need to do something about this. So I sort of stepped forward, and like someone who sort of ran a vanity marketing campaign that drove no links, so I had to buy them, I just stepped in, went under the table, turned off the power, pushed everyone back, cleared all the flammable liquids, and I was the hero. The fire then obviously died down, and as the catering staff ranted about the idiot that put the croissant in the toaster, I sort of slowly agreed with them and suggested to improve performance, maybe they add a croissant warmer next to the toaster. I then walked back to my wife, who had seen the whole thing pan out, who was shaking her head and quietly suggesting that next time I just be more patient and speak to someone that knows what they're doing. And honestly, I think it's a bit like this in SEO. We're still behaving sometimes like it's in 2010. Like there are shortcuts to be had, because there were. We all know there were. Google, unfortunately, wasn't as smart as it said it was, and we knew we could have some, private blog network or some other funny way of getting to rank. I think there's still this mindset, and I think we're on this rush for quick wins. Sometimes it's because our bosses or our clients are pushing for it, but for long-term success, you've got to take a step back. And trust me, I've learned the hard way with SEO and with croissants, that if you want a long-term success, you have to not be in a rush. You have to plan properly, wait patiently, and then enjoy, not continually trying to literally and sort of figuratively fight fires, make it look like you're not the one starting the fires. And obviously, we've got to take our teams and clients with us on that journey, and you need some data to back that up. I think with the evolution and increased use of AI, I do think the effort would be as important as speed. But to sum up, I think quality, it needs to be made to order. No off-the-shelf SEO strategies. I think all strategies, if you work with any agency and they're just giving you a fixed fee, not breaking it down, be suspicious. I think AI will not be the end of SEO, but it very well could be the end of sort of bad SEO, or SEO that success is built on sort of slightly dodgy link acquisitions or trying to cut corners rather than working with resilient businesses. And do remember that we all are using the same software, and software is key to SEO, but if we all use it for our answers and just create tick lists, to-dos, we'll all just cancel each other out and everyone will just be mediocre. The people that rise above are the people that are happy to make decisions. And I think in SEO and in life, people are scared of making decisions. That's why they'd rather just create a to-do list and a tick list, because you can blame the software if it doesn't work. But I think awesomeness is not just all using the same software or AI and sort of doing what it says. I think awesomeness is using AI and software to make us more efficient in what we do. And make no mistake, sort of making those decisions, being brave, having a strategy, trying something different is risky. But I think sort of that's where awesomeness is found, sort of in that riskiness. And that's where being a winner is found. So just quickly to close, I'd suggest there's 3 things to look at if you don't remember anything else about this talk. One is have a play with the Google Natural Language API. It's really quite simple, but really interesting results, like I say, especially if you've got a big site with lots of content. 2, don't be a lazy SEOer. Please do try and build some test websites. It's great fun, and it can be great fun for the team, so please do that. And 3, please never heat up a croissant in a toaster. Thank you very much.
Monthly reporting making you want to shove sharp things up your nose? Try Dragon Metrics, the all-in-one SEO software with mind-blowing reporting tools.